As a leader, if you are continuously growing and bringing information and knowledge back to your team, that inspires them to learn from you, but also that inspires them to go out and seek information and knowledge out in the world.
Leah, I'm thrilled to have you on the show with us today. And this is a treat. We've crossed paths in different chapters of our lives, but here we are getting to have a recorded conversation where people get to listen in and hear the magic that is your journey and your career journey. So when I think of your journey, I'm remembering a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert, who says that the world is divided into two kinds of people. There are the jackhammers and the hummingbirds of the world. And jackhammers stay hyper-focused on their passion. They're efficient. They get a lot done. They tend to be obsessive and fundamentalist if they don't veer from the path, which, we need some hummingbirds and some jackhammers. But what I love of how she describes hummingbirds is they spend their lives doing things very differently. They move from tree to tree, from flower to flower, from field to field, and they're trying this, they're trying that. And what's amazing is two things happen from that. They end up creating an incredibly rich life for themselves because they also end up cross-pollinating the world. And so they bring ideas from one place to the next, and your perspective ends up just keeping the entire culture open to the new and the fresh. So Leah, from what I've learned about your journey, from your personal life and your career journey and how those intersect, it's evident that you're a hummingbird. So thank you for being with us, for sharing your journey with us. And I'm excited to dive in to all things that you have to share. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Bethany. It's great to be here. I appreciate the invite. I've been listening to your podcast and we have met before. You're fantastic, so talented, and I'm glad you're doing this new venture. It's very exciting to be here. It's interesting that you mentioned the analogies of jackhammer and hummingbird, and I really like it. And I think that it's the right analogy. The hummingbird metaphor speaks well to me. It's really about cross-pollination, growth, and learning continuously. That's what it represents. But sometimes it can come across as lacking focus. And I think that would be just one correction I would make. Lacking focus or lack of direction, right? So you could see a hummingbird cross-pollinating, but maybe just jumping on and off places without going deep. And I think that's what sets me apart a bit, that I have really this deep discipline instilled in me. Even though I love learning across and cross-pollinate, I also believe in a very strong set of direction and discipline as you take on something.
Yeah.
But great analogy.
Yeah. And because from early in your life, with a career, if you will, an early career in ballet to then your professional career in marketing, you have followed your curiosity at every turn. And there's a difference between being curious and following your curiosity. And many people get stuck in the fear of the unknown, which keeps them from taking action and trying new things and stepping out and out of the norm more so. So what I am setting out to accomplish in this conversation is to inspire our audience, you who's watching this, to make that shift from just being curious to following and taking action towards what you're curious about. And so let's dive in a little bit more then into your professional ballet background and into marketing. Leadership is fascinating, as I shared. And what initially drew you to the world of marketing? Those are two different worlds. And tell me kind of the transferable skills that you excelled with through both of those fields.
First of all, what an amazing topic. And let's do inspire, right? Our listeners. I think that hopefully they can walk away with something or a bit today that helps them take that curiosity to the next level, which I really believe in. I would not glamorize and say that when I entered marketing and communications field, it was because I really dreamt to be a marketer. I was an immigrant. I came here to build a new life. And I was a professional ballerina. I was teaching ballet, and that was great. But my curiosity and also the need to build a family and build life here drew me to kind of more cerebral side of me, which is very deep and strong. I just have a sense of intellectual rigor, and that cerebral part of me brought me to marketing and communications because it was closest to the areas that I grew up with, which included my parents one was an academic Another one was a journalist. And so the field of marketing, addressing human affairs, looking at emotional component of what people experience and how to bring sort of action to their lives was interesting to me. And it was also natural because I was a good communicator. I was a good writer. And so those areas really attracted me. So that's how I got into marketing and then realized this is something I really love. So that was the initial impetus of me stepping into marketing. And the parallels with ballet are really conceptual thinking, discipline, looking at complex patterns and ideas and then distilling them to simple bits. That's something that you do in dance when you train in this very difficult field. That's how you think. That really requires a marketer to think similarly. It just was really nice synergy for me.
That's a beautiful understanding of the comprehensive nature of for a marketing executive, which is our audience, is you have to be able to flow in and out of the left side, the right side, be able to hold that creativity and then the groundedness of the strategy. And I think that's an interesting ability that you have to hold all of that and natural fluency that you have to move in and out of those.
Exactly. You have to be very agile in the way you think. And no pun, that's what dance teaches you as a deep training, but also that's just the way my brain works. Naturally led me into that creative space where you can move from very strategic approach, analytical approach, which marketing requires, but then brings you back to this really important creative state where you can not only inspire others, but come up with very interesting breakthrough ideas to drive a program.
Yes. And you shared now just about the initial front side of your career that led you into marketing, and you moved on into that path, further down into that path in your career chapter at Qualcomm for over 12 years with a highly successful role there, culminating in a VP role. But then you decided to take a break. And I'm just curious, I know that was a big decision to take a break from the corporate world. And, if you think of just LinkedIn world, like someone might say, why would you do that? Why would you walk away when you're at the top and the height of a aspirational career for many? So tell me a little bit about, how did you know the timing was right to make that difficult decision?
Yeah, well, just stepping back a bit. First of all, I am really passionate about technology because it helps me. It really aligns with the way I think. It's got a lot of change. It moves fast. It kind of has a lot of motion. It has quick cycles of innovation. And that's brings us back to curiosity. I've been in technology my entire career as a marketer, and I really enjoyed that. Qualcomm was an amazing chapter. It's one of the most amazing companies in the world to work for. And I was extremely fortunate to be there, had fantastic opportunities, and grew a lot in terms of my ability to really assess marketing programs and make a difference. And I was with Qualcomm on the forefront of technology. To your point, why step away when I did? It was a time for me to really reassess my life and step back to my creative roots. It was the right time because I had some personal issues with my mother and I was taking care of her. All the stars have aligned after many, many years of working hard, going nonstop. I had the opportunity to take a break, and that was the right time. So I went back to my creative roots. I thought I'll kind of settle back. I call it my sabbatical. I didn't think I will live forever or this is the end of my career, but it was a challenging moment because it is a risk that you take when you plunge into unknown. That was unknown. I left the company for those reasons, and I just needed to reassess my life. It was just one of those phases and stages where you sit back, you reassess, and you think about renewal. And that's what curiosity is all about, continuously renewing yourself. And I thought, okay, I'm stepping away from this amazing job that I have, what it is that I'm going to do to continue to expand and grow. I wanted to go back to my creative roots, and architecture and design was that one space that really always drew me in. It has a lot of parallels with marketing, by the way, in terms of how you think about coming up with a story and a concept, that you do research, that you address audiences. It's just like advertising. Think of coming up with a great, amazing concept Design is in the same way. It has a lot of parallels to marketing strategy. And then you end up with a story that really impacts emotionally a person, a human being. And that story really calls you for action. That was very interesting to me. Design is sort of amalgamation of many areas in many fields. It has art in it. It has architecture and very detailed and technical component. It has strategy, which I'm strong at. It has creativity. It has color theory. All the creative elements that in marketing we touch when we either run creative departments, have creative teams under us, are all inside, design and architecture field. And in that case, you become hands-on. You build things with your hands. You design things with your eyes, with your brain. You build things in software. So I've learned a lot of skills that as a marketer, I wish I had, but I run and let others do. So that made me much more hands-on strategist at this point in my life. But then parallel with that, I think I was concerned of becoming irrelevant. Again, that curiosity, that idea of growth and idea of continuously growing in your field. I was able to step into a startup world. I was invited to first advise and then help a brand new company to get launched into a space. And that was a company in AI category, which was 3 years ago. That was when AI was still kind of fresh and new. And there was a bit of a conversation around it, but very few people actually had an opportunity to build a company using AI. And so I jumped in. The company's named Circle. We've built it in the last 3 years. I was there as an advisor, then as a co-founder, and then eventually ended up on the board. But if I didn't lead Qualcomm, I would never be able to build a new technology company or help build that company or learn all these new skills. And that's part of being curious and taking these risks that sometimes they bring us back full circle to make us better and stronger.
Full circle,
yeah.
No pun intended, right? I do want to zoom in on your experience with Circle and some of your passion behind that undertaking to enter into the space that you did. So let's dive in a little bit to Circle and where it aligned with your passion. You mentioned AI, but I want to talk a little bit more about what Circle set out to accomplish and why you were interested in launching a company of this nature.
Yeah, I mean, as we grow in our careers, in our lives, the one thing that becomes pretty clear, at least to me, is that as we continue, we need to do something that has purpose. Anytime you're in any career, you want to have purpose and align with mission and vision that sets closely to your values and your value systems. As I learned about what Circle was trying to accomplish from Juan Carlos Rivera, who's the CEO of the company, they were thinking about something really meaningful and something that had to be addressed. And that's really a high category of women's healthcare. And using AI, using data and ability to really improve and increase outcomes for women's healthcare. What an amazing cause. I really care about advancement of women in general. And in this case, as I started to learn how much women are underserved across the world in various communities in all aspects, but most importantly in healthcare and women, there's such a disparity. Women have been excluded from the advancement of medicine for decades and potentially centuries, but particularly even up until this decade, where in 2016, women were still not part of the research when people are addressing drug research. They're still working on male rats. So ultimately, that led me to believe that this mission and this vision can really make a difference. And then seeing AI being a product or technology, underlying technology that shifts something for good in healthcare, it was transformative. So I thought I can step in, make a difference, and help the company position itself, which is what my strength is, really positioning, market positioning, advancement of brand, development of strategy. But also I touched all aspects of go-to-market work, fundraising, entrepreneurial aspects. So there was this other component which exposed me to a really ability to build a startup, to build a company. And as a marketer, I think very few times we get those opportunities.
Absolutely. And I mean, between Qualcomm and Circle, you've really been a pioneer in the technology space. I'm curious, you alluded to it earlier, but what do you love most about the tech space?
I mean, I think it's these fast, rapid transitions that really impact communities and in the world. I've been I've been fortunate about to be a part of 3 technology transitions, right? When we had .com era, that was about democratizing information. And so I was a marketer early on when that was all happening. And it was amazing to watch how it impacted the world. And then the second transition was really social media and mobile, which is what Qualcomm is on the front of mobile. So everybody now carries smartphone in their pocket. And that's what really brought everything to our fingertips. But also social media separately from that is really opened up the view for information to flow through creators being human beings. Anyone can become a creator. Anyone can distribute information, and information had no borders. And so now we are in the third technology transition, which is AI. And that's not just a transition. I believe this is a third industrial revolution because it's not going to just transform information and knowledge. It's going to transform everything, and everything may become better, more effective, more productive, but we also have risks. So as a futurist that I call myself, I was very fortunate to be alongside people who have been developing these amazing technologies. In all cases, both in Qualcomm and Circle, and even previously, I was at the company that was at the forefront of Bluetooth technology, then was acquired by a large semiconductor company. That's a great fortunate story for me, but I always looked for it because I think technology and my thinking align very much.
And with that alignment of your thinking and technology, the pace that it moves and the impact it's able to accomplish, are there other industries that you're excited to see or be involved in how AI will push the world forward?
First of all, I'm excited about the impact it will have on the communities around the world in terms of transformation. Like I've talked about healthcare, and that's an industry, right? And that the whole industry can be upended through that and improved. And, any slow legacy environments and systems like healthcare, but sustainability and green technologies and climate are one of my passions. I think underlying technologies across all these sectors will have a meaningful change, will bring meaningful change. It have been, but I think it's going to just accelerate products that are going to support that and be around, if you think about circular economy, circularity, regenerative agriculture, all those pieces that I've been studying in my architecture school can be brought back to how marketing addresses it.
That's such a comprehensive understanding of how all of these themes fit together and these different topics, but your unique POV of marketing. It's really enlightening of just that intersection. And we'll get into this more too, but as you look at, the trends and the way that marketing was and the way that marketing is now and how it will be, no longer are these pieces siloed, right? It all is so integrated in being able to be fluent, have to be fluent in evolving technologies, understanding cultural implications, and then just having the chops, the marketing chops and the know-how.
This episode of Listen Loudly is brought to you by Door Number 3, a growth marketing firm for challenger brands. Door Number 3 works with scale-up and enterprise-level brands who have a mandate to grow. We help them shift from accidental to intentional growth through performance media and brand development. If you need a growth strategy and execution partner, visit dn3austin.com or give us a call. We look forward to talking to you.
To zoom in more on AI and as it relates to marketing, you have an incredible point of view that I want to make sure we highlight around how does AI fuel marketing and then vice versa? How do they feed each other there?
This is a really interesting topic, and I know there's so much chatter in marketing industry now around AI. Some of my friends went to Cannes and they came back with updates, and was just a galore of conversations around. Because I've been working in a company now or associated with a company that's building AI as a major underlying transformative force, I will just speak from some of my perspectives. I think AI, and again, going through 3 technology transitions in marketing, I think AI will be both. It will be a tool in the utility, which we all know happened to internet, happened to social media, and will happen to AI. So it will continue to improve efficiencies, productivity, like those are utility tool-like traits of AI. But then it will be a massive strategic and transformative asset, right, on the other end. And so with that, AI will occupy all parts of our lives and culture and every industry. But what it will not do, it will not possess the originality and creativity of humans. So I think this will retain and remain inherently human trait, originality and creativity. And that brings me to this next point around the idea of acquiring knowledge, right? And we're on curiosity topic. We're on topic of growth and learning. What AI will do is provide knowledge for free. You know, I read somewhere recently, I think it was a Microsoft CEO of AI that stated that knowledge will be margin cost free. Basically, you can acquire 15 to 20 years of scientific knowledge immediately regurgitated by AI given back to you. So information is no longer currency. Knowledge is currency. And if knowledge is currency, then we have to accelerate how quickly, how fast we're acquiring knowledge. Because in order to be creative, in order to be original, marketers really will have that unique trait, and human beings in general, against the machines. In my view, we are entering the knowledge economy, where knowledge becomes currency, and ultimately it all ties to curiosity and growth that we're talking about today, you and I.
Thank you for that perspective. How expansive in your understanding of how those pieces integrate together. And now in your current career moment, you are re-entering the marketing scene, which is so fascinating with all of the twists and turns, as we talked about. As you've pursued your curiosity is now leading you back to re-enter in a marketing leadership role. And how do you see your diverse experiences across design now and entrepreneurship, healthcare and technology enriching your approach to driving the future of marketing? What's keeping you pursuing that path?
Yeah, well, couple of reasons. Like I said earlier, I needed to step back and kind of renew and refresh. And it's been an amazing refresh, as we talked about. A lot of learning, a lot of growth, a lot of interesting opportunities that came my way. And I came full circle, understanding that I can still make a lot of difference doing what I do really well and bringing all those experiences with me. So I am, like you said, reemerging and reentering the marketing world. I'm slowly looking around, looking at the opportunities, looking at the leadership roles. I understand also that the next wave of marketing leadership, executive marketer, CMO, whatever you want to call it, will require growth mindset. And I think that this growth mindset of being a growth marketer requires some of these skill sets that I just acquired in the last 3 years, such as understanding a business case, understanding how to build a product, understanding how to fundraise, understanding how to drive revenue, understanding how to attach marketing to a revenue. That's where the marketing is going. And that's, all the trends are pointing to that. That ability to become a stronger growth marketer is what I'm bringing back into the space right now, to a role that I eventually will locate.
You've painted this incredible picture of the future marketing leader. And, it's interesting because you have described this clear kind of juxtaposition of what was and what will be more so. And as you consider the discipline of marketing, it's evolved and it is evolving substantially. And so that curiosity is the tip of the arrow for every discipline, but specifically for marketing because of the unique nature of the function we have within a business as a marketing leader. It requires us to consistently evolve ourselves as humans, because it's not just, a finance department, with all respect to the finance department, or, any of the other departments within a business. The uniqueness of marketing is we have to bring our whole selves as a human, to bring those ideas to life, right? And to connect our value proposition with humans around the world. And so I just wanted to reflect that back more so to just say it's super fascinating with what you've described as, the traditional kind of discipline of marketing, and then the way that we have to stay so agile to stay on the cutting edge as leaders?
I think it's a now marketer versus a marketer yesterday. And, even though in the last 10 years or 15 years, we know that digital marketing has transformed the role of the CMO, right? It added a lot of responsibilities to a traditional CMO role. It added kind of a sales funnel potentially within the digital domain. So it has already transformed CMO. But as we move forward, we talked about the role of AI and what that will create in marketing organizations and for a marketer. Like I said earlier, marketers will have to become growth leaders. And they also have to become not only tellers, but also doers. And the reason I'm saying that is because, again, we're entering into this very different economy of both knowledge and technology as an underpinning to drive everything and to transform everything. So it will supercharge what marketers can do. But also because the market is shifting due to these forces, marketers will have to become more responsible to tie their results to revenue, which always been the word we said. But now it actually will be possible and actually very visible. Let me give you an example of how this could transform a marketing organization in some ways. We always talked about tracking and analyzing our marketing programs and driving results and tying them back to business goals. That has been a conversation in boardrooms, in marketing rooms, in planning meetings. And marketers have done a really great job figuring out how to track and organize some measurements over time, and also look at the performance metrics within a channel, and then compile all this together. And there have been business tools and business intelligence tools and analytics tools and content management tools that came on the market to kind of measure all it. But it never been possible for us to really add it all together in a holistic manner in a way that connects millions and maybe billions of data points. And that's what AI will be able to do. The data and analytics strategies will shift completely. First of all, and again, we just built a similar product for Circle, but AI will be able to access troves of information and data points, analyze it cohesively, put it together, and then give it back in the insight form. So marketing CMOs and executives within companies will be able to see that information very quickly. So campaigns will be tied very directly to performance. Campaigns immediately will be tied to how budget was spent. So you have to think on your feet. You have to understand that you also now be responsible for growth of revenue, growth of audiences, growth of responses. And so now you're a growth leader, not just a traditional marketing leader. And so AI will supercharge all these components, but it also will showcase the data in ways previously impossible.
With curiosity as the fuel, if you will, as a marketing leader, how do you inspire a culture of curiosity among the people around you? What have been some ways that you've kind of lit that fire in others to take action and stay curious and lean in and let that be the driving force for you as a team?
Well, a couple of things. I think that curiosity, as we talked about the knowledge economy, is becoming essential for a marketing leader. The marketing leader themselves has to continuously grow and grow fast. You cannot get complacent in no ways. Even if you grow older and you have a long career behind you, if you want to continue to stay relevant, stay current, you have to continuously be curious. Curiosity is not necessarily, it's probably part innate and part from the environment. And that leads me to your question. Partially, there is a spark in the environment that can spark curiosity as a result, and desire to learn and desire to know. As a leader, if you are continuously growing and bringing information and knowledge back to your team, that inspires them to learn from you, but also that inspires them to go out and seek information and knowledge out in the world. Every leader has to allow for their teams to continuously learn and grow. And if that is there's different techniques around it. You can inspire by talking to them. You can engage them in courses. You can allow for them to take X amount of their time, experimental time in their work life, to really go and learn something new as it relates to the skills that they can bring back to the workforce. There's flexibility that it requires from a leader and a CMO. And also it requires a distinct effort to bring and inspire your team through yourself and new information, new knowledge by providing it back to them, but also inspiring them to do it themselves. It's sort of like, I think it's a two-way street.
That's a beautiful explanation. And to kind of land the conversation right where we started with the analogy from Elizabeth Gilbert about a jackhammer versus a hummingbird, the word she used to describe the benefit of a hummingbird life, if you will, is that cross-pollination. And that's what I hear from you is, as a leader, cultivating a culture of curiosity among your team, the responsibility starts with you in that you are tasked with cross-pollinating. So always staying inspired yourself, finding ways and finding environments, going into rooms that is going to kind of light that fire for you, and then bringing it back, cross-pollinating into your team. And it doesn't have to even be, as your life has exhibited, it doesn't have to be just taking inspiration from one industry, or it could also look like pulling back and saying, I need to retool. I need to reset and rest, go take some inspiration in a completely different chapter of your career, and then re-engage. So I want to just say how inspiring your own journey has been.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if I can give an advice to CMOs out there, to marketers out there, is continuously retool. That is what helped me. You know, people who get me today, or if I, wherever I land, wherever that place will be, will get a Leah that is a broader thinker, that has fresh ideas, someone who's more agile, more entrepreneurial, someone who understands business even better than before, and also someone with renewed energy. That does not require leaving your job, though, to get these things done. You have to experiment outside on your own and think of time in your life as not a constraint or a limit. And that's a big shift that happened to me. Time is no longer an obstacle. This idea of having not enough time to do something, for me, does no longer exist. I apply my passion. I see time as something that is continuum. If I'm tired, I'll take a break, but I will not avoid something using this excuse of having not enough time. And I think that's a big shift, mental shift, and the mindset shift. Being curious requires to eliminate obstacles in your life from not finding that time or finding that moment to fulfill your curiosity, to follow your curiosity. You can experiment without leaving jobs, without losing your careers. You can just grow continuously while being in your space that you're comfortable being in, and your workspace even currently.
Thank you. That is so inspiring. Let's end there, and just want to tell you again, thank you for imparting into us that spirit of curiosity that has taken you on an amazing adventure. And in the next chapter, we will all be kind of leaning in and looking
forward to
where
collaborating
you land next.
with you. I'm looking forward to collaborating you, Bethany.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm really excited to see how your world grows and how your podcast expands. I think what you're doing is really important for marketers.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.